All right, recently a company called NearStream reached out and asked if I would take a look at their new streaming camera. This is kind of the latest entry into a whole very new segment in cameras where the aim is to combine some decent optics and the ability to capture good video, so they're video first cameras, not really for stills, and then integrate in some additional features that is intended to make streaming easier. Oftentimes streaming directly from the camera to YouTube and Facebook and places like that. I believe this one has that functionality. Sometimes, NDI is an option. I believe this one has that as well. And usually there's an app on your phone or whatever that you can use to control it. So we're gonna take a look at this one, get it out of the box, run it through its paces a little bit and see what it may be good and useful for. All right, here it is, our NearStream wireless 2K live streaming camera, which is interesting because they talk about this in their marketing literature that it's a 2K, but then over here in the kind of the smaller print we have 1080p and 60 FPS. So I'm not sure what the difference quite is because 1080p is not 2K, but we'll see. And then we've got the app control, which most of these have now. Okay, we got the box open and you get your quick start guide with a QR code. Okay. Obviously this is meant to go the other way around. So we'll go that way. There we go. All right, so we've got a quick start guide with a QR code to download the app. Nice to see. A little bit of a user manual, actually a pretty thick user manual. I'm not used to seeing user manuals anymore. I like it, that's great. Warranty card. All right, we got a cable, so that's a USB-C to USB-A. And then the camera itself. Now this is actually a little bigger physically than I was honestly expecting this thing to be. I don't know why, I've only seen it in pictures, and usually these things are pretty small, but this is actually a goodly sized unit with a little bit of heft to it, actually. That's kind of nice. All right, well, let's start around the back. We've got a microphone in, that's good to see. There are built-in microphones in it. We'll see what that quality looks like, but we got the built-in microphone in, that's good. There's a battery level indicator, which means it has its own internal battery, also helpful. A mini micro SD card slot, obviously for recording, USB-C for charging, and we'll see maybe what else. Power supply. Around the bottom, we've got all kind of the normal stuff, including a kind of standard tripod mount, so that's nice to see. All right, and then around front we've got the camera itself. Now that's a pretty decent sized lens in it, and it talks about in the literature 40x hybrid zoom. So I assume that means there's some amount of optical zoom going on with it, and then you add in some digital zoom on top of that, I'm sure, to get to the 40x. 40x for something like this seems a bit much. This really feels like something you're gonna have a little closer to you than maybe 40x away would let you have, but that is something that is good to see. All right, well, I guess really the only other thing to do now is to turn it on and see how it works. All right, so I set this up pretty much exactly where my main recording camera is, which is right next to it right there. And I'm just recording it with the audio built into the camera. I imagine if you plug a mic into it, it's going to sound exactly like the mic plugged into my main camera is going to sound like. My studio is really well lit. So we're going to see how it works in that kind of well-lit environment. And I am recording directly to the SD card on the camera itself. I did figure out what was going on there. You set the resolution or the quality of the camera, basically how much the sensor is going to capture, and then you independently can set the quality of the recordings. Because I set the camera all the way up to 2K, that obviously takes a lot of oomph to record at that high quality. It can't also do that and then record at those higher levels. If you set it, as I have set it now, to its 1080 high setting, it can record on your phone, you can stream it, and record to the camera itself at that 1080 high. That's probably okay because most things these days are 1080. You know, that's what we use for pretty much most stuff. But if you do want to stream at those higher resolutions, just know that you're not going to be able to do that and record at the same higher resolutions at the same time. You'll be able to make a backup copy, and in fact I think there's some language in there that says backup. You'll be able to make a backup copy at that 720 if you need to. So instead I just set it all to 1080 so we can record and see how it works. So this is some test footage of what it's like in this Well Lit studio environment. I'm going to take it outside, try it there, though that's probably, which may be a use case for some things, and then also maybe like a larger environment as well. Before we actually move out of the studio, I had a couple of questions like, how do you zoom? There's no zoom controls on the camera. Clearly this is a app controlled thing, but it wasn't immediately obvious to me where those were until I brought up the app again. So I brought up the app again, and you'll see if I click on the little gear here, I can get my image adjustments. And I get some autofocus, auto exposure, auto white balance, so I can change those things. There is an HDR setting in here, which is kind of cool. Might play with that a little bit. Mirror and flip. But then up here is where you get your zoom controls. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little bit more. All right. Those are pretty big jumps in terms of zoom, I'm noticing. I think you're looking pretty, yep, that's a lot of my face. We'll zoom back out. Clearly this is kind of a set it where you want it and leave it situation versus actively zooming in and out you know, during streaming whatever it is that you're streaming, which again makes sense for the use case of this camera and what it's for, but just know that you get in here, you set all your settings the way that you want them, and then you pretty much just leave them alone is obviously the intention. Okay, so I did attempt to plug my DJI external microphone into it through USB. It did not like that. That did not go well. Tried a couple of different things, turning off USB host and a couple other things, but that does not seem to be a supported accessory at this time. Doing it with the audio in, though, through the 3.5mm worked as you would expect it to, and got the quality you would expect it to have. So, yeah, there you go. All right, so I am outside. It's a little bit of an overcast day, not too bad. And I am recording the audio through the line in on the camera with my wireless microphone setup, and that seems to be working fairly well. Yeah, so I turned on all the automatic white balance and all the auto features for it, and the color and the temperature and everything seems to have turned out pretty well. So, sure, this is outside with the NearStream Live Streaming Camera. All right, I decided to do another quick test where I took the camera settings all the way back up to its full 2K. Now recording the video onto my phone through the app, since you can't do that directly to the SD card. I did notice when I switched from recording, where the little light on the front would be red, would glow red, let you know it was recording. Now it is flashing green, I assume to let me know it is live streaming, because it is at least live streaming to my phone, which is capturing the video. So we'll get to see kind of what a quality difference that makes in terms of the video recording quality, recording this and the previous 1080p footage back to back. I do release all of my stuff on YouTube in full 4K, so hopefully you're watching the 4K version of it or on a 4K capable device if you want to see the quality difference between the two. All right, here we are in a larger space. I'm about 15-20 feet away from the camera, and it's pulling in a nice kind of wide shot that I appreciate, working pretty well, not seeing a lot of like artifacting on the side, no fishbowl effect that's super noticeable or anything like that. I am recording the content to my phone, but because I changed locations, the Wi-Fi network that I had previously connected the camera and my phone to aren't available in this space. So what it'll let me do is actually set the camera up as an access point that my phone is now connected to. So my phone is connected over Wi-Fi directly to the camera, and it is streaming the content to my phone, which is then recording it. I can also use it to control the camera and do things like that. They do this because basically Bluetooth, which is the other connection technology, I'm pretty sure Bluetooth is what the app uses to initially set up the camera, just doesn't have the bandwidth to move that much data for, especially 2K worth of streaming video. So instead, you make it an access point. So if you're ever out in the field, somewhere where there isn't Wi-Fi available, the camera itself can become the Wi-Fi service. In addition, my phone's then cellular connection could be used to stream, so I can have my Wi-Fi connected to the camera, bringing in the signal, and then my cell phone's connection through 5G, 4G to actually stream out into the world, which is handy if you find yourself in places without good quality Wi-Fi, or you just don't want to bring your own Wi-Fi with you. So right now I've got everything set to full auto. This is a pretty bright space with some actually pretty high contrast between the lighter areas and the darker areas. At least from the preview on my phone, it seems to be handling it pretty well. I want to try zooming in a little bit, so we're going to do that. Oh, that might be too much zoom. Oh, you're down here now. Hi, how's it going? I'm right here. Yeah, that worked. I did test the camera plugged directly into my computer so it could run as a webcam, and it, guess what, works as a webcam. Seems to work fine. All right, the NearStream Live Streaming Camera, what do we think? Well, I was never able to get the external USB audio to work. I tried a couple of different mics, and that's a little disappointing. I would have liked to see that work. I also ran into a couple app freezes and a couple places where it got stuck when I was playing with some of the built-in filters on it. It actually got stuck on one, and there's one that I could never get to engage. So I think the app that controls it is definitely the weak point, and will need some work, and you would hope over time that would see some improvements, definitely some bug fixes that need to be done, but also some additional features would be nice to see. That app control is always a concern, which in that you're beholden on the company to continue to support the app. If you don't update your apps every so often, they can get incompatible with newer phones and newer technology, and then you're left with something that you can't really use all the features of if the app no longer works or is no longer supportive on the modern hardware. So hopefully NearStream as a company is one that's going to be around for a while and will continue to update and support their products. But that's always a concern with things like this once you step out of like the major brands of like Sony, Canon, and all of that, though even them are guilty sometimes of abandoning their products to not being supported too. So the whole time I was testing it, I kept asking myself, who is this for? Because it really is a set it and forget it kind of product. It's designed to be set up, tweak the way that you want it, push the go live button, and then, not touch it after that. And that's probably a fairly particular use case, but one that I'm sure exists. If you've got a live stream program where you're, doing like a cooking show or, or like a podcast where you've got an interview style, a couple people talking, and you just wanted like a nice wide shot and want to just stream that, certainly that would work. I would definitely put it as a live stream product. You can record with it, but if recording is your primary function, there are definitely better products out there for that. But if you want streaming and simple kind of all-in-one streaming platform, it does do that, and it seems to do that pretty well, at least in my testing. So there's a little price performance thing you're going to have to work through yourselves. If it's what you need and fix, and addresses your particular niche for what you need, you could definitely do worse, and it's actually a fine product for that. The only caveat being, I do hope that we will see continual improvement in the app over time to address some of those issues that I ran into. All right, well, I hope you found that useful. Please like and subscribe. If you are interested in checking this out, please check the links in the description of this video, because clicking those links really does help support this channel and give me the opportunity to continue to do what I do for you all. And until I see you again, have a great day.